The BBC's Yusuf Akinpelo told me more about this latest attack.
Security operatives have said they are trying to search for some of the residents who fled, and it's still unclear the number of casualties from the attacks. And the governor of the state had said he was on top of the situation, trying to ensure that there is security presence within the communities where this thing happened. And operatives have said they are also on the trail of the attackers and they are trying to apprehend them. The police recently put out a statement saying more than 200 homes were razed. Likewise, there were also the burning of vehicles and motorcycles, which is like the primary means of transportation.
Do we now know how many people have fled their homes, or do authorities know the number of people who've fled their homes?
According to some of the local authorities who said the number of injured persons were around 300, some of whom are now at different state hospitals receiving treatment. And also because just some persons who fled their homes are yet to be seen. It's also one of those people, one of those casualties or some of the resultant from the attack that is yet to be ascertained, which the government said they're trying to measure and give the update to the press once they have it.
Why did it take so long for the police to go to this particular area to prevent the number of people who have died?
I think that scenario is characteristic of this attack from these particular communities because they are located in the hinterland. They are often rural areas that are not motorable. So it's a vast land which has very scant security presence. The security outposts. When I was there in 2021, this time in 2021, there was no security outposts in some of the rural communities I visited. Before you could get one, it would be almost outside of those communities towards the urban centers. And that's why when there is these attacks, when there are distress calls, it takes very long time before you get security personnel to arrive. And by the time they arrive, the attackers most likely would have escaped. And that's why it's also very difficult for justice to be served.
So looking at the number of people who've died and those who are injured, including those who are displaced when the number is still unknown, are we seeing the government, both FCT and the local government, saying that this will be a joint operation, or will this only be handled by the police in Plateau State?
There is already a joint operation between the state police, the local vigilante groups, hunter groups who are also searching for some of those who fled their homes, some of the displaced persons. They're also trying to ascertain the number of dead persons. And I mean, this is just like a joint operation between local security operative and the state security apparatus.
And looking at now the fact that there is already a response by the government security-wise, are there any humanitarian responses, say, for instance, looking at the number of people who are receiving treatment and also looking at those who've been displaced and are trying to seek shelter or temporary shelter?
The governor has also visited some of the displaced persons. He recently, just a couple of hours ago, shared a picture of himself at the security outpost where there were many people, some of whom were the displaced persons, and he had pledged to support them and also to give treatment to some of the injured. Like I said earlier, there are some persons who were injured that are now receiving treatment at public hospitals in the states, and the state is expected to take charge of that.
Dixon Osagie served with the Nigerian army and is now a security specialist. He gave me his reaction to the Christmas Eve attack.
Plateau State, for a very long time, Rhoda, been experiencing this community clash, sometimes between herders and farmers, sometimes between the Muslims and the Christian community, sometimes between terrorist group and bandits, commercializing the state of insecurity in Nigeria.
If we look at the statement that was issued by the governor